Took all the time I had, really. Didn't make that decision until the last day on the deadline. But it really just came down to what I wanted to do to make me the most happy this year. What I could do to kind of really capitalize off this year. And then it came down to a no-brainer coming back to Purdue. The NBA, it would be an honor to be in there, but it's a business. I think Purdue's kind of a blessing to me. I got my teammates, great guys, high-level, high-character guys, and then also great basketball players. I got my coaches that I really love. The university loves me. Um, so it was no brainer. I get to come back with the people I love, with the people I really trust, people I've grown with, and compete for every championship there is in the country. So that's something you don't really get an opportunity to do every year, and something I didn't really want to pass up on.
So you've got a baseball in your hand and you just rang the bell at the Colts game the other day. Those some of the things that you talk about getting to experience?
Yeah, it's cool. You get invited to those kind of things now. Everyone was away from fall break, or else it would have taken the whole team. But it was a lot of fun. Kind of go to the game. I got that little big hat in the mail that week. Hit the anvil. I got to bang a drum before a game. So it's kind of cool experiences that have come this summer.
Can we see the baseball in your hand? Because it looks like a rock or something.
Yeah.
Let's hold up that kill
Mean change up.
Oof. No one's touching that.
What would a second Wooden Award? I mean, only Ralph Sampson has done that in college basketball.
I'd be lying if I said that was an honor. If I said that wasn't an honor, if the opportunity presented itself, I would be glad to take that podium and accept that award. But that's not my goal going into next season. My only goal going next season is to win the Big Ten again, win the Big Ten championship again, make a deep run in March Madness, make that Final Four, make that national championship, and win it. My goal isn't to go back to back. My goal obviously was to win it last year, but that wasn't my main goal. Just like next year would be.
What does the experience of what happened last March do for you going through this?
Yeah, obviously a loss like that really stings as a competitor. It's going to stick with you for life. There's no getting around that. But I think we have a lot of guys who are really, really motivated. We have a lot of guys that like to work, a lot of guys that like to stay in the gym, and that only pushes guys to work even harder. I think we have a lot of guys that even if we had won the whole championship, they'd still be in the gym, still come in every day, still stay late. But because that happened, it just adds a little more fuel to that fire.
If you were able to reach all of your goals that you just described, would it still stay with you for life?
Yeah, no doubt. Just as a competitor, you always think of it. But you kind of have to move past it. When you're playing games, you can't think about stuff like that. Only thing you want to think about is just winning a basketball game.
This is for all three of you. With everything you guys have coming back, which is probably one of the teams that has more than anybody else, how, I don't want to use the word pressure, but it has to be in the back of your mind of making that March, not winning the Big Ten, but making that March run, getting to the Final Four, which hasn't happened for quite a while.
Do you want me to take it first? Yeah, definitely a lot of pressure. If you could put it that way, I like to frame it as we get the opportunity to compete at that level. I was just telling Brian a few minutes ago, like, you could go through your whole career and some people never get a chance to be on a team like what we think we can be. So to get an opportunity to have the group that we have, not just as players but as people, I think is really cool. So, and obviously there's a lot of pressure. It might not always be fair, but that's what we signed up for. And that's the position we put ourselves in, not just last year, but the last few years. We just haven't been able to answer that bell in March always. So I think it's a cool challenge for us, but we can't look ahead to March and skip over the whole season. Obviously, you see there's a ton of great teams here. We got a great non-conference schedule. So it's just taking it one day at a time and being the best version of ourselves. If we compete to play our best basketball in March instead of, the past couple years we played it in November, we played it in January, February. If we can continue to grow and play our best basketball in March, then I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
I think personally, it's not like anything changes just because the media thinks we're going to be really good. I thought we were going to be really good every single year I've been at Purdue. We've had team meetings every year. The goals have never changed. every year we've come into the season, we've said we want to win the Big Ten, we want to win the Big Ten tournament. We want to we've gone down the list of everything that we want to win. It's not like one year because the media thinks we're the sixth best team in the Big Ten. The media doesn't think we're going to be ranked going into the year. It's not like we're going to take reps off in practice. We're going to go an hour in practice. We're not going to focus. You work the same, you compete the same in practice, you prepare the same, no matter how good you're supposed to be. I think you have an opportunity, obviously, to do something really, really special next year. But I don't think it really changes anything from how we prepare and how we go about things like we do every year. I think our goals have stayed the same no matter what.
They pretty much said everything. Just to add on to what they had to say is that I love about our team is our coaches. Every single day they show up to work. Whether or not we won the Big Ten last year or not, they're still going to show up to work. Whether we won the national championship last year or not, they're still going to show up to work. And that trickles down to all the players. 1 through 17 that we have, everybody's in the gym. Even our walk-ons, they want to get better to help us out in practice, to give us a better feel for the other team. And so whenever I'm sitting up here with these guys and they said everything I was going to say, it just shows that we're all on the same page. That's the biggest thing. Coach Payne has done a great job of keeping us level-headed, keeping us understanding that we're really good basketball players, but that we can get a lot better and that we have a lot of stuff to work on. And so they said everything pretty much.
Jason, from what you guys have been through the last couple of years, is there something you learned? Like, okay, this is what we did wrong. We can't do this next time. This is what we need to be better at.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any common threads from those games that you could take into next season when you're probably going to play a game like that and have to play?
Yeah, so that starts right now, honestly, in our preparation for the end of the season. Usually we are going pretty hard around this time of the year, and we just carry that on into the season. And I think that's why we always have a great non-conference season and then a great conference. And so by the time we get done getting beat up in the Big Ten, we're a little tired in March Madness. And so Coach Payne and our trainers have done a great job of understanding that and trying to figure out how we can change that a little bit, but not altering everything we do in practice. We still have to do what we do because that has gotten us to where we are. But we might just have to work a little bit smarter to preserve our legs for later on in the season. And I think that we're on the right track for that right now.
Hey guys, what about
Give an
confidence?
example. I'm sorry.
You guys didn't look like as confident a team as your resume suggested.
Mhm.
Any theories as to why that was and how that can be different?
I wouldn't say I have a theory on it. I think we just have to continue to remind ourselves who we are. I think at the end of the season last year, we got caught up in the media of who we were about to play rather than who we were about to play in the game itself. And they beat us fair and square, but we've gone to the drawing board. We've sat in that feeling, and I think we're going to be ready for anybody this coming year.
You have to kind of embrace how good everyone thinks you can be and how good you guys think you can be as opposed to the whole, you have to block out the hype.
Mhm. Honestly, I think it's more so listening to each other, listening to our coaches. Those are the people that really matter. Yes, media can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, they don't have any effect on what we do daily. And so we have to go to practice tonight after we leave here, and that's what we want to do. We may not be the happiest about it, but we know that that's going to get us a step closer to our goals eventually towards the end of the season. So
Matt Painter said that he was just writing for 4 hours on that trip after the loss in the NCAA tournament. What do you all remember about that bus ride back home?
The biggest thing for me was the snow. I remember going from Columbus back to Indiana, back up to West Lafayette, and just gradually there was more and more snow, and just sitting in that feeling. I'm not a big fan of the snow, and so sitting in the feeling of the loss, it makes you want to do everything possible to not ever feel that again. And I think I see that from these guys and the coaches as well. Like, we all have that kind of look in our eyes, that taste in our mouth that we're not happy with, and we're ready to get it out so we can move on to better things, keep playing, keep winning.
What you guys?
I think for me it was just the silence. Not a lot of words were said on that bus. I don't think I spoke for the next day. it's a shitty feeling for a season to end like that after kind of all the things that we really did well. Um, there's not a lot of words and not a lot of ways to describe it. It sucked.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I took from that day would be, as soon as we got back, we sat down and had a team meeting. And I won't go into specifics of what we talked about, but it started, instead of everybody getting away for a few weeks or a month and just sort of like getting your mind off it, like it planted that seed that day. Like you have to sit in it, think about it, and find a way to embrace it. Everybody has a different story, a different journey, and hopefully that's a part of a bigger, better picture for us down the road. But that was the biggest thing for me, just kind of planting that seed that day as compared to down the road. I think it was healthy for us. It was uncomfortable in the moment. It was uncomfortable all spring and summer. And fall is still uncomfortable now. But, Payne says sometimes you got to learn how to live in misery, live being uncomfortable. And hopefully we can continue to turn that into success, as the season moves forward.
In terms of acknowledging that you're better than a lot of the teams you're going to play, as good as a lot of the teams you're going to play early in the season. There's been that game in December every year where it seems like the other team is really gunning for it. It always seems to be Rutgers. Is there a specific way you guys need to carry yourselves kind of in that regard?
I mean, kind of being the hunted isn't anything really new for us. We've kind of been the team that's been hunted in the Big Ten for the last 2 years. I think every road loss we've had has gotten stormed for the last 2 years straight. So it's not like kind of a team putting a target on our back is anything really, really new for us. I think that's really good for us as a team, kind of knowing that that's going to happen, knowing we're going to get everyone's best shot, and knowing we're going to get a lot of teams' best versions and a lot of players' best versions of themselves every time we step on that floor. It's tough. Every team's really, really good. Every team's in the Big Ten. Like every player in the Big Ten is really, really good. They're on the team for a reason. They're wearing the jersey for a reason. It's really tough to win every game. You want to win every game, obviously, as a competitor, but sometimes the team just plays out of their mind, and it happens. But you kind of have to learn to move past, and you have to learn to kind of. I think a big problem with us last year was, since we're also competitive, one loss kind of really really hurts you and really, really sticks with you. I think we have to be able to really move past it and move on and not let it knock us off our stride.
Speaking of that, I know that any regular season game does not define a season, but there are certain games that are just huge. The IU Purdue series is one of those. You guys have beaten them 9 years straight. Then last year they get the sweep. What did that loss in Mackey do to you guys? And actually, I know you're an Indiana guy, but you guys haven't. But you would.
Yeah, I'll let
what that series means.
Jason's Indiana guy, so I'll let him probably speak on that.
My thing is if I had to take 2 losses to Indiana to get these, I'm okay with it. Yes, it does. It is tough to take those 2 losses to Indiana because that's our rival. But at the same time, our goal wasn't to beat Indiana. Our goal is to win the Big Ten season, win the Big Ten tournament, make the Final Four, win the national championship. We got 2 out of those 4 goals. 2 losses to get those 2 goals, I'll take it. I'm okay with it. But as a competitor, I don't want to lose any game, no matter who it is, too. But we have this year. We'll play him twice again this year, and we'll see what happens.
So. What have you guys seen from Miles Colvin, the freshman, like ways he can contribute?
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a good spark for us, really. He has a great shooting touch, obvious athleticism, and I'm excited to see what he does. He's played pretty well in practice. He's a freshman, so he still has things to learn. But I see him paying attention and listening to people, and so the sky's the limit, really, for him. It's up to him on how good he wants to be. He has all the tools. It's just about ironing them out, sharpening them, and being ready for the conference play.
Zach, did you learn anything about being a great player from Big Ten, be around Shea on those days?
Yeah, for sure. Kind of being around guys who make it look so effortless on the court, you realize it's really not. You realize how much work they put in behind the scenes. You realize how really dedicated they are. Like they were showing up hours before practice, showing up to practice with a full sweat. Like it's really different the way that they work. That's something I've really kind of tried to take from that experience is how hard they really work.
Purdue's coaches were working out at 6 a.m. every day in the spring. So
Yeah.